Hey, Sonora. Good morning.
Eh,
How are you doing
eh.
today?
Good, Jatin. You again on a Sunday morning?
Sunday morning. Yes, I am again. I think so. There's a lot of excitement happening, right?
Yeah, I mean back to back. I'm excited, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
a Sunday morning after all.
After all, absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
exciting because I think we are getting good reviews coming in.
Oh yeah.
And just to let you have read about it, right? We were selected as one of the top 70 podcasts in the world. So
I sent it across to all my WhatsApp, all my LinkedIn connects, all my all the social media that I ever know. I send it all to them privately.
Right, right, absolutely, and we need to do that, right? Okay,
Yeah.
it's a good pat on our backs, and of course the whole group, I would say, to Agile World itself.
So proud,
Yeah,
so proud.
absolutely, absolutely, and
Yeah.
we
And
are
I think
just
Carl and Sabrina, they are just rocking it
yeah,
all over us. Yeah.
absolutely, and we are thank God we've been selected, and we are contributing our part of it, and
Yeah.
especially focusing on India.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about our journey.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely,
2021 ending seems great. Now 2022 starting, so some great things coming up definitely.
of course, of course. So who do we have today? Who's our guest for today?
Well, we have Rituparna today, and she is amazing. She's amazing with her work. She's an agile coach, and I think Rituparna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, definitely. Hi, Sonora. Hi, Jatin. So you can all call me Ritu. It's shorter, easier to remember. So I am working with TCS since 2014. I joined TCS after completing my masters, and currently I am associated with the consulting wing of TCS. So there are different wings. One is the delivery side, and the other is the consulting side. So currently I'm with the consulting side, and
Mhm.
I'm working in the capacity of a change agent. So sometimes I am playing the role of scrum master, sometimes I'm playing the role of agile coach, depending on the need. So in a nutshell, it's a change agent.
Mhm.
And recently I have changed my assignment. So in my previous assignment I changed my role from scrum master to agile coach, and
Mhm.
then now I am in another assignment again as a scrum master. So it keeps changing. It's very agile.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. There's a very thin line between being a scrum master and agile coach. I think it's like you can always switch back and forth because it's important for you how whatever the way the team works, right? Whatever things can get to delivery faster.
Mhm.
I think we take up that role. We are agile that ways.
Yeah, correct. It depends like like where we need more attention. So
Mhm.
depends on that. We need to shift the role so that it benefits the team.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
consulting, right? So in consulting, we people or like I've been in consulting as well. So we have to wear multiple hats depending on the demand of the customer, right? And
Yep,
Mhm.
have to fulfill it as part of the organization.
yep,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
So Ritu, where do you are based out of, or what language do you speak at home?
So I am based currently. I'm connecting from Mumbai, Thane.
Hmm.
But my native is from Kolkata. So I shifted to Mumbai together with getting my job in TCS. So I got a job in TCS and my location was Mumbai. So I shifted to Mumbai. But my studies till my masters has been in Kolkata.
Oh, so you
So
speak Bengali? That means
Mishti,
yep.
mishti.
no. Let's start with the first thing. It's like "Tumi keman acho," right?
Yep. It says how are you? So I am good. So it means that আমি ভালো আছি. তুমি কেমন আছো?
Oh, "Ami bhalo achi" as well.
Yep, perfect.
Wow, that's some Bengali. I can only say you both sound misty misty right now to me.
Man, I
So,
remember even like I come from Mumbai as well, so
Okay.
Bengali sweets were the best ones. Okay,
oh
still
yeah,
are. Like it still
yeah.
are. Like you can't. Of course, the top one on my chart list are the rasgullas for sure.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
And believe me, you won't. I can eat dozens of it at one sitting. Dozens.
Oh
Okay, I'm not
my
talking
God.
numbers. I'm talking
Wow,
in dozens. Believe me.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm always looking in Canada also. I'm always looking for these Bengali sweets. So
Yeah.
Sweets.
for occasion like Karwa Chauth and for Diwali, there has to
Yeah.
be a Bengali sweet because it feel like sweets, right? It
Sweets.
shouldn't
Yeah.
feel like
Mhm.
you've had sweet and there's no sweet in it. What's the point
Yes.
of it, right? So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Bengalis are usually known for sweets. Like we are known by rasgullas.
Rasgulla, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
totally, totally.
But then that's the see, that's what how people say, like if you eat sweet, you are sweet. So I believe we
Wow.
all eat too
Let's
much of sweet. So
let's not say you are diabetic. You
no,
are
no,
not
I'm not. I'm not.
sweet.
Thank God, touch wood,
That's
never ever will
yeah.
be.
So if you eat too much of sweet, I think that's what you'll become. That's
No,
how we
you
are spoiling ourselves.
absolutely no. You need to balance it out. So, like, of course,
Yeah,
definitely. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anything in extreme
Too
is not
much.
good for health for anything. Like
Yeah.
whether
But
even
I
Yes,
love
correct.
the rich diversity of our country,
country.
with
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
person we talk to, we
Yeah,
get to find something exciting to know about and then to try here. Like
yeah.
I'm always, I think after every interview, I'll have to try something new with all the things that I learn about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Ritu, tell us about like how did you come across Agile? Like, was it you were being because you come from a consulting background with TCS? Like, I have been into consulting as well with IBMs and others. But it's like, was it the demand from the customer, or you thought that, oh, okay, this is something I want to do? I came
Mhm.
across, and so tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so how did I come across Agile or my journey? Okay, so let me share from the beginning. So it started, like I said, I joined TCS in 2014. I was given a project. It was a waterfall project, and there was no news about Agile at that time within the company, or even if there was news, it was not spread enough to reach to me. So I started the project. It was a waterfall project, and there were around 15 to 20 people working in that project. And towards the end of 2015 or beginning of 2016, the project failed. So if I summarize, it's like I started my career with a failed project.
Fail
So
fast.
yep.
No,
So
fail
it was
slow, but later on, kind of
Yeah.
way.
yep. So it was a failed project, but at the same time, there were a lot of learnings that I got out of that project. Being my first project, like new to the industry, and like hit with a failure, there was a lot of learning out of it. So it was a 2 years waterfall project, and there were around 20-25 people working, and everything was going very well for around 1.5 years. All of a sudden, one fine day, when there were only 6 more months remaining, one of the project stakeholder, he came to one of the meeting and he started to fumble, and he was about to give us a very bad news. He gave that summary that there is a very bad news, and then he mentioned that the project is not going well. So the project manager asked, like, what this not going very well, what does it mean by not well? So he mentioned that it's a failure. We will have to do the shutdown process for this project. We'll discuss in detail, not in this forum, we'll discuss separately, but I just wanted to give a heads up that the project is not going through. So it was after 1.5 years of hard work, and I been new to the industry. I was very much enthusiastic. This is my first project, so it's like my first baby, so I have to make everything right. So it was a lot of emotional moment for me just to hear this, and that also towards the end, just 6 months before the project closure. So it was finally, we wrapped it up somehow, and all the people who were working in that project, they got disbursed in different other teams. But after that, it was a great setback. At that time, it was a great setback for me. I was worried, like, what I got myself into. So this is my first job, and this is such a big company, and then how come I become a part of a failed project? Have I landed in the wrong place? So I had a lot of questions, and all these things kept running on my head for days. Eventually, after some time, I started to talk to people. I started to talk to people from other teams who are there in the organization for a long time. And when I started to discuss about all the scenarios that came across throughout these 2 years, they started to talk about agile and scrum and kanban. They gave me a lot of suggestions that, see, you could have done this differently if this was in waterfall, sorry, if this was in agile, then maybe this information which you are getting after 1.5 years, you might have got just in within the first 1 or 2 months itself, or throughout the journey, not towards the end of the journey. So I was new. I was not knowing much about agile, scrum, kanban, and all the terminologies. So I just absorbed whatever they said. I just kept listening. And then eventually, when I heard it from too many directions, I got interested. So because these were new terms, so I started to Google. And eventually, after quite a lot of Googling, I came across Agile Manifesto, the Scrum Guide, and all the other agile related things. And I started to get a hang of it, like why people were saying that if the project would have been in agile or scrum, then it would have been better, or it could have been different. So that is when this thing, the word agile or the word scrum, kanban, it came to my ears. After that, so in this project, I was actually working in the capacity of a business analyst. So this was a waterfall project, and I was a business analyst there. So after that, fast forward to 2017, while I was like figuring out a lot of answers to my questions, I wanted to know more and more about Scrum and Kanban and all the frameworks that we use. And I figured out that I need a mentor. I need somebody to teach me what exactly is this. Because at that time, the projects in which I was working, it was still in waterfall. So that is when I came across CSM, certified scrum master, and people advised me that you can go for this not for the sake of certification, but for the sake of the mandatory classroom training. So at that time, CSM was there, and I didn't know about, there were two type of organizations. One is Scrum Alliance, one is scrum.org. I knew no such details. But I got to know from seniors that go for CSM for the classroom coaching. So I opted for it, and I got a lot of benefit out of it, because in that training of 2 days, a lot of experienced people came, and I could tap onto their experiences in a very short time frame. So I got a lot of bits and pieces from many of the participants there, how they are doing agile and scrum, and what all challenges they are facing and how they are addressing those. So it was a like lot of learning for me in those 2 days, and it was kind of a crash course for me. So after that, I started to relate my work to agile, scrum, and all the other frameworks, and I eventually figured out that the project that I was working at that time, it was more towards kanban. So it was a SAP implementation project, and it was more towards kanban. And that, like, I was looking for options of scrum, because that was like more well known with respect to kanban. So it has more publicity, or people know more about scrum. So I was looking for scrum, but I understood that no, it's not scrum, so I looked for alternatives, and I finally figured out, with help of lot many other people, that it is actually kanban. So, and I tried to do whatever I could in kanban. I did a certification also to understand more. Again, it was a classroom session, just to understand how things needs to be done. So while these all things were going on, I was trying to figure out my way. A very nice thing happened. A manager of a team which was sitting next to my team, he started to talk to me during the coffee breaks, that what all things I am doing, because I used to talk a lot about agile. I used to ask a lot of questions whenever I used to see that this is not fitting as per scrum. So I used to ask 10 more questions to understand why it is not fitting as per scrum. And that is how I discovered that, okay, this cannot be scrum, this is a kanban method. So that manager started to talk to me, and in one of the coffee breaks, he said that he sees this passion and this continuous interest towards agile that I have. And he said that most of the people in his team and also in my team, they don't have any knowledge about agile or scrum or what is happening in those areas. So he said that because I have at least some amount of knowledge, maybe I could help them. So I was very much interested. I was like, okay, finally I got somebody who wants to go along with me, because till this time I was myself all alone trying to find bits and pieces and get those things together. So he said that since you already have the certification, you give us a training. uh, you can be rest assured that we will help whatever you need. You give us a training to 15-20 associates, both from your team and from my team also, and then we see how we go forward. So I was very excited. It was my first real assignment which relates to real agile and scrum and all those things. So I did the training. It was for 15-20 people, internal people of TCS. And I made it a no slide training. It was a 2 days training or workshop, and it was a no slide workshop. So that people were very much interested because I kept the title of the training as no slide CSM training. So so that no slide was very much like eye catchy, because people were too much bored with slides everywhere. And we had a good 2 days training, and later, after quite few months, I came to know that the way I conducted or organized the workshop, it was in line with TBR. TBR is training from the
From the
back
back
of
of
the
the room.
room. Yep. So I did it without knowing it, but later when I came back, so it was kind of reflecting back after I knew what TBR is. I could relate that, okay, what I did was in line with TBR technique. So for maybe for the audience who is going to hear us, so there is a book by Sharon Bauman of TBR. It's a very, very thin book. It talks about the 4 C's that we can use in a learning session, because it uses the science that the brain works for learning, like how the brain learns, how fast or how easily the brain can learn. It is based on that. So people who are into trainings, they can easily refer to this book. It's a very good book. So yeah, coming back to the training, so I trained those 15-20 associates, and eventually I got to know that around 15 of them out of those 15-20 associates, they all of them has passed PSM1. So I myself, I was not certified PSM1 at that time. So I was very excited that, okay, fine, I did something, and it had some kind of impact, that people were interested to go for the certification and they gave the certification. So that was a very big like motivation for me. So the fact which made my moral down of that failed project, which at that time I was thinking a failure, but now when I look back, actually that is the pillar of my success today, because that is from where I started to discover more or ask questions more, that why it happened in this way. So from there, till this training, I was like completely changed. I was, okay, fine, this is the way that I want to be, or this is the way that I want to go. And eventually after that, all the projects that I got into till date is an agile project, meaning the client themselves wants to be agile or are in between the transformation, and they require people to help them. So that is where I pitch in. So that is how I landed in agile. So it's a big story.
Yeah, and you know what? I could relate to so many of the points where you've reached, and so many great points that you touched upon while having this conversation. I think I'll start with how you talked about a failed project and how failure is such a big thing when we are working, and how this whole failing a project has made this agile concept so adaptable, because you can fail faster, you can learn faster, you can implement faster, and you would know faster, like, what is the journey like of a project, where are we trying to reach, and what is our end point looks like. So I think in waterfall, the biggest challenge has always been, like, you find out the things that you should have found out earlier later,
Mhm.
and the whole marketing dynamics has changed by the time you're ready to launch a product, or by the time you're ready, the stakeholders are ready to use the project. It may not even be the same thing that they were looking for from the beginning. So I think that, and this whole training that you talked about, the table, like,
TBR.
training without the slide, the TBR, and training from the back of the room and all of that. Honestly, I had this team that I was working for, and when I went into the project, the bank, and I was just talking to them about, a basic agile 101 training and all, and they were like, oh, you know what, we kind of attended this training, and we were running like headless chicken around in the room, and they made us do these weird stuff, and we were never able to relate to why are we doing it, how will we be able to use it in our project. They never talked about it. They just made us do all these weird random stuff, and we were like, are we scrum master now? Can we go back to our work? We need to do our work back. And I was like, yeah, I think I understand, if you're just so new to agile and you don't know a thing about agile, and suddenly you're made to do all those activities and all those big decks and stuff, nobody gets to relate to them. So I think that whole no slide thing, and talking about stuff and understanding the concepts, and now how you are going to transition from your, like, traditional mindset to the more agile mindset, that can't just happen through slides. There's a lot that goes in. So I think those were great points that I could grab from while you were talking about.
Yeah, it was actually a very good like experience for me, because I was the youngest in the training room, but still like most of the people were having work experience of double digits. So, and I was pretty much new with only having 2 3 years of experience, but they never like they added all the participants, they added on top of whatever I said. So for example, whenever I was sharing any of the concepts, they used to relate it to their work experience, and they used to share that, okay, so if you're saying that scrum is about transparency, that means that this thing which I am doing is basically, it is not transparent. That is why people are not able to understand why we are doing this, and they are not motivated to do it. So now you are saying that scrum, one of the pillar of scrum is transparency, so then we need to do it differently. If we want to do things in line with scrum, then we need to do it differently. So it's like, I knew the concepts and they had the experience. And in that session, we both could work together and kind of co create that entire workshop. So it was a very enriching experience and motivating experience for me. I'm not sure about the participants. I hope it was motivating enough. But for me, also, it was a very good learning experience at that time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one great point that you touched was, this whole concept of identifying if it's a waterfall project, it's an agile project, it's a Kanban project. It's really important that when we get into that space, like, when we are selecting a project, that, like, I've seen a lot of times when you get assigned a project, it's because the leaders have decided that suddenly everything is agile, and now, everybody has to be agile, just take the training, do whatever, just get the work done. That's all that they care. But when you are into the project and we suddenly realize this is not supposed to be sprinting, this could just be WIP limits, this could just be Kanban, and we can go. Or maybe you kind of do like a statistics between, what to build versus how to build, and then you find out that everything is fixed. So why don't you just do it waterfall? And
Yeah.
it could be waterfall, don't go agile, you don't need that project to go agile. So how are we having that conversation enough? Are leaders talking to the teams to understand, like, do we really need to go agile, or do we really need to keep this project in waterfall? How are we deciding that? So I think those are some definitely great points to think about, talk about among the entire leadership and the teams and all the people who are involved in this project.
So this brings me to 2018. So 2017, I had all these trainings and all the stuff. In 2018, I had an amazing experience with one of the customers. So, like I said, I'm from the consulting wing, and we have a lot of clients and or customers. So around May 2018, I started as Scrum Master with an insurance customer of TCS, and till date, I believe it is one of the greatest experience that one could have in the agile world. So it's like I started in IT of that customer, in the IT department of that customer as a Scrum Master. And eventually, when I came out of that assignment, I came out with the experience of a complete business agility transformation. So I entered as, it's like, I don't want to sound in a negative way, but in a positive way, I feel I entered as a Trojan horse. So it's like I entered in the IT department, but was finally when I left, it was all over the organization. So it was a very enriching experience. I was into design thinking workshops for the inceptions of all the initiatives. I was into conducting various small, large experiments, structuring things in order to have more business agility, not only limited to IT, but the entire product flow or entire business flow agility, and many more things. And luckily, in that organization, the leaderships were very much supportive of it. So when I say leadership, it is up to the level of the highest office, that is the CEO. Up till the level of CEO, there was a lot of support. So yeah, not from day one, but eventually when they started to see the potential of the transformation, everybody started to support it. Maybe all of them were not onboarded, but nobody at least blocked the way. So that is more important. It's okay if we disagree, as long as we are respecting the efforts that everybody is putting in. So it was a very enriching experience. So I was part of Agile Guiding Coalition there. So it's a small group of people. I think we were around 6 to 7 people in that group, and we called it as Agile Guiding Coalition. And it was built from the inspiration of book Leading Change. It is by John P. Kotter. So we were this group of 6 7 people, and we were self motivated to bring change for the betterment of the people and the organization. I was the person from the partner organization, and remaining all the 5 6 people, they were from the client itself. So we initially started operating in IT, and eventually we reached out to almost all the other business operations, like like be it marketing, be it legal and compliance. We usually tend to see legal and compliance as the dinosaurs of the company, right? They always have a lot of files, and everything needs to be manual, or a
All
lot
the
of,
guardrails that they put
yep,
through.
a lot of secrecy, no
Yeah.
transparency. So we even touched that department also, and it was a great experience. We eventually, after a few months, we eventually started to have a dual operating system. So when I say dual operating system, it means that there was a traditional organization hierarchy, and along with that, the Agile Guiding Coalition coexisted. So this Agile Guiding Coalition was a network of individuals. There were no hierarchies or no layers of managerial roles or any management. And it was a group of networked individuals who were driving the change from the front seat. So we had these two kind of environment working together. One is the traditional hierarchy, another is the networked individual. And again, this dual system, how to exactly structure it or how to take it forward, this was again from one of the, inspired from one of the book, which we, I think the name is Accelerate. It is again by John Kotter. So as part of Agile Guiding Coalition, we used to help driving the change beyond bureaucracy. So when I say that, like if I want to put it in context, previously when there was no AGC or Agile Guiding Coalition, whenever a initiative used to come, it used to come to the desk of the PMO, that is the project management office. And from there, the PMO used to assign the PMs, that is the project managers. And the project managers then used to go to different engineering managers in the IT department to get the required people and form the team, get some developers, some business analysts, some tester, whatever roles are required, the project managers used to run from pillars to post to form the team for that initiative, and then he used to run the show. So that is in a traditional bureaucratic way. Now in the when we started to have this networked individuals called Agile Guiding Coalition, how we designed the process is whenever there is a new initiative, we started to have inceptions using some of the principles of design thinking workshop, where we used to invite all the stakeholders, not limited to IT. So it's from the person who from whom the initiative is coming, from business, it's from the sponsors as well, and all the other involved stakeholders along with the IT people. Together we used to have the inception. So instead of directly going to PM and PM assigning to like all the other developers and business analysts and all those things, it used to be a collaborated workspace, where everybody used to come brainstorm together, and we used to have some kind of roadmap of how we are going to execute this. And after that, eventually we used to form the team. We, meaning people from Agile Guiding Coalition, used to help to form the team, and we used to have a lot of showcase done at organization level just to communicate of what is being built. So rather than boxing it into IT, we started to cut across the organization and involve all the relevant departments. So that helped a lot, because somehow that silo which was going on for a long time, in the at least in the mindset and also in the workspace, that we could break. When we had this dual operating system, we could break. So the one which was the traditional operating system, that was still helping with all the work that needs to be done as per the rules. So we have a rule book, right? All IT organization needs to follow a certain amount of rules. So they used to help with the rules, and we used to help with organizing the work better, so that we can have a more quality product or better employee engagement, better communication of what is happening all across the organization. And initially there were a lot of reluctance, and it was not a very welcoming change, because people were set to that mindset that this is not my job.
Correct.
I
So
can leave
Ritu, in that situation, how did you handle the challenges? Because see, whenever you are executing a project in Agile, there are some challenges. Each project has its own challenges.
Mhm.
Or whether you are running EGC or anything. Let's focus purely on the project part of it. So when you started running Agile projects, what kind of challenges did you face? Did you face challenges with your team, or did you face more challenges with the customer at times? And how did you overcome it?
Yep. So I would say the major challenge was from the stakeholders. So the challenge was their realization that they are not getting involved, because in their mind, when they are giving the requirements, they are already involved. So from their perspective, we are already involved. Why you think that we are not? We have given the requirements. We are not going to do the coding, or we are not going to do the build the product, right? It is not my job. My job is to give the requirement, and after that it is your job to take it forward. When it is done, you come back to me and you tell me that it is done. So why do you think that I am not involved? So this mindset, where I am not even realizing where I am lacking the involvement, was a major challenge for us, because we wanted involvement of all the stakeholders, and somehow they were not involved, and they had their own day-to-day work as well. So like spending some time on this building the product was an additional burden for them. So they were like, we are fully occupied, we don't have time. That is what they used to tell upfront, like, we don't have time, we are fully occupied, how do you think we can manage so many work all together? So what we did is, we went slow. We started with the baby steps. We started to show them from situation to situation that they are needed. They are needed while building this product. They are needed as part of the journey. We don't need them only at the destination, we need them throughout the journey.
And
So
I
whenever
think there is where the sweet spot is. Like you're actually talking about transparency. You're talking about the importance of feedback. You're talking about the importance of demo, which normally I've seen a lot of companies, they're like, oh, you know what, let's combine 2-3 sprints and do demo together. Like, let's not do that. How are we getting the stakeholders feedback? It's very important. So let's talk about being transparent and getting the right and requirement, and the team having that collaboration with the PO, with the stakeholders, and having that visibility to be able to understand. So yeah, I think that's great. Yeah.
So it's like we did not tell that, okay, you need to come to this by any cost, because we know that would not work. They would not show up. So we started to show in certain situations that, see, we are stuck here. If you are not there, we will remain stuck. So what is our outcome? What are we working for? We are working for that product, right? So if we are stuck and you are not getting involved, then the product will not be there. So you cannot leave us, you need to be with us. So that sense of belongingness, it started to build up slowly with a lot of communication. We had a lot of one-on-ones, and in different forums, whenever we got some space, be it a quarterly meeting or any brown bag meetings, we used to socialize this.
I like the term brown bag meeting. That sounds like very brown in Canada. You know, honestly, from your this talk, I just recalled that in one of my project to handle all these dependencies and escalation, what I did was I created a Kanban board along with the sprint scrum board on my Jira, and all the things that were dependent, or all the things that were to be escalated, was put on the Kanban board with the timeline, with assigned to a stakeholder who is going to be accountable for, and that would be repeatedly called out. Like, we used to have these bi-weekly meeting, and we'd say, oh, you know what, this has been sitting here for 4 weeks now, and the team, it's something that is dependent on the upcoming sprint. Like, you know, the sprint starts in 2 weeks and we have no responses. So why don't we just, you know, kind of, it was like a red flag for us. So that Kanban board really helped us create that visibility, because I think if we do not have, if it's not visible, it's not in your mind, right? It just get lost. The stakeholders will not, if it's not, they're not held accountable somewhere where, you know, their name is there and it's looking like it's being held by them, and they are the blocker, they will not work on it. So that Kanban board became like a lot of my projects, they started to use it, because that was like, you know, it was a way to get the stakeholders politely saying, you need to get your job done for us to start sprinting, you know. So yeah, I think these things really help. The visibility part, it really helps when you kind of call those things out.
So I think we had similar thing, just we used a fancy term for it. We used to call it an information radiator board.
Yeah.
So
same thing.
Yeah. If
Like
you
the
are
brown.
using a radiator, that is more like a safe use is more of a radiator.
Yeah, I'm watching you.
Yeah,
Kind of
radiator.
the Scrum Master is watching you with those laser radiator eyes and saying, you are responsible, not me. If it fails, it's you.
You,
So, yeah.
exactly. You know, it's like we are pointing it more on the customer than onto
But
us.
politely, I didn't say anything, but it's you. Yeah, totally.
So yeah, so it was a systematic change. So we had a lot of challenges, but it was a systematic change which took time. So when I left recently in the month of May this year. I took another assignment. So we were in a better position. At least we could have certain amount of business agility, and there were a lot of systematic fine tuning done, and people started to see things differently. So when I say done differently or see things differently, meaning we measured it, we saw there is a lot of increase in the employee engagement. So there was a survey which goes every quarter, and we saw the trend rising up with this transformation. We measured the NPS of the customer facing products, the net promoter score.
Yeah.
And that also improved a lot. So we had different metrics other than the Scrum ones, the burn down chart and all those things. So we had a lot of other metrics, and we saw the improvement. So that
Yeah.
is where I feel that we were success to certain extent to bring the systematic change.
Yeah.
No, it definitely helps. You know, of course, as you go on this journey, like everybody thinks that, okay, you are using Agile, that means you'll be able to see your product faster, or, you know, things will get delivered faster and so on and so forth. But that is not, that is a very misconception people have, right? It's It's just that you will be able to see your errors, or you'll be able to plan things much better in advance. And you'll be able to see results much more faster than waiting for the whole thing to happen and then say, oh, this is not what I meant. And it's
Mhm.
like, you have lost so much of time, money, schedule, and so on and so forth. I mean, even a customer, if it's a product already live, right? So
Yeah.
definitely Agile has helped a lot of people all over the world, but then there are people who think that, oh, Agile doesn't work for me, right?
I feel agile is simple.
Mm,
It just says that you do, if you are agile, you'll get faster feedback from the market, and you can incorporate it very fast or very quick, because you will release MVPs. So you don't
mm,
need to build the whole building, but you just need to do the main or core areas, and you can release it. But I think it is we who make agile more complex. So I feel agile is simple.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's difficult to implement. It's how
Yes.
it is, right? I
it,
think
it
it's
depends, Sinor. It depends how you see it, like, or how you want to, how complex you want to make it. If you keep it very simple, very straightforward, the processes are smooth, then it is simple. But then yes, more complexity will add more, more
I think
processes, more complexity. Simple as that.
I think the complexity comes with the snowball effect of the organizations that we are
True,
working for. Like,
true. Yeah.
how layer by layer can we take the things off and try and
Mm,
implement the simple ways of working? Because people get, I think bringing change, like, when we talk about getting things changed or changing the mindset, and then we have
mm,
all these adapters, and then we have resistors, and then we say, oh, resistors, they're not adapting to agile. But I think it's not that. It's like
mm,
they're not finding value in what we are doing, right? So
Correct.
to help them get that value, we have to show them that how are we showing that this thing
mm,
can bring like change for you, this thing can simplify things for you. Because right now what they see is more work, more meetings, and less output, right?
yeah.
So how are we communicating the right mindset or the right ways of working to them, or
Mm.
is it the right way for them? Like, you have to analyze that too. So I think the complexity comes there. Some areas are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You can just start. If it's a new project, it's even easier. But if you enter into a project which is already maybe a year ahead in its time, then things get really, like I said, the snowball effect. It
Of
gets really
course.
difficult to layer it off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it depends again at what level and what it is, number of people involved, and of course, change is not always easy for people to welcome, right? Like as
Yes.
you mentioned, Ritu, like change is what people felt like your customer felt it so difficult. Oh, why are we calling so many meetings? Why do we have to give so many inputs and so on and so forth? So change is always going to be challenging for anybody. Like
Mhm.
even when you
I
move
think,
from
yeah.
Bengal to Mumbai, it's like, oh my God, okay, this is a new world. I have to get it, but it's like, okay, you had no option but to get used to it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, finding that right grocery store that gives you your kind of food, your kind of
Yeah.
flavors, and finding that right restaurant, finding that right, outlets that
Mm,
you want to hang out, or finding the new friends. Like,
true.
yeah, it's always crazy that way. It's like, to adapt to changes. And then
Yeah.
once you do, you don't want to go back to the place where you were. You're like,
Yep.
oh, I'm more comfortable here now.
Correct. I think the
Absolutely.
advantage which we had is, if we see, it was a structural agility at first, right? Because we had this agile guiding coalition, we actually broke the structure or the bureaucracy or the layers that was there. We had a competitive structure built, and then we like went down and we tried to work with the people. So I feel that in a way that helped, because usually what we do is we try to go through the teams, like through teams we try to move higher up. But here we just came in as a separate structure altogether, and it was, like I said, it was very we had a lot of support that is there, which usually we don't get. So we had a lot of support from a lot of the leadership roles. So I think it helped, rather than going from the team from bottom up. Somehow it helped.
Yeah, but
And sorry,
mhm. Go
and
ahead.
in which different industries or the product which you made through TCS, right, for the clients, which industry was this focus on? Can you just add that?
This one was for insurance. It
Insurance only.
was,
Okay.
yeah, it
Hmm.
was insurance company.
All
Okay.
right.
Great. I think we've had some great, great experience from you, Ritu, and all the things that you shared. I'm sure our listeners would have finding a lot of value and synergies between, what you expressed and what they are facing, because I think all of us have this accidental introduction to, or get this, leave Jatin out. He's from the era where it started. So he's
No,
like way
I'm still learning. I'm still learning from all of you, right?
and that's so motivating, Jatin, when you say that,
Mm.
because it's like, it's like we are always learning in this journey and trying to implement new things. But yeah, it's all this whole new space that we get into, and then we are the drivers of agility. So I think, thank you for sharing all of this knowledge that you did today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you, Ritu, very much.
thanks for giving the opportunity, because it was a very good session, like talking session, where I could share what I went through right from the failure to where I am today. So
Like a
it was,
therapy, yeah.
yep.
Reflecting back to things that you might have even lost thinking about, like, no, not even reflecting back anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually
definitely.
I was thinking back, okay, this is how it was there at the time. So yeah,
Did
it
I
was
do
a
all
lot
of
of
that?
reflection. Yep.
Yeah, no, that's great. But thank you so much for sharing it with us. It's really it's really helpful for a lot of people to understand their journey. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ritu. And I
Thank
hope
you.
you had a good conversation with us as well.
Yep, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jatin. Thank you, Sonora.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.